Do you ever think about working for free? Me neither, but let's learn about 250,000 Americans that did. So when the United States gets involved in World War I, the president is Woodrow Wilson, and he has an attorney general named Gregory. Now, Gregory discovers that the Bureau of Investigation only has about 200 field agents, which arguably is not enough to make sure that German spies and German propaganda is not infiltrating the company. So instead of going to Wilson and asking for a bigger budget in order to hire more field agents, he decides to team up with a businessman out of Chicago and start something called the American Protective League. This would be a league of volunteers who would just spy on their neighbors and the people that they worked with. And Gregory described them as people that were keeping an eye on disloyal individuals. Now, this starts out on assembly lines. So basically, volunteers, are just standing there and eavesdropping on everyday conversations and then reporting that to the Department of Justice. But as the APL grew, people started to take their roles a little bit too seriously. See, if you had paid 75 cents in dues, you received a patch that you could wear that told everybody you were in the APL, and some people let that patch get to their heads. They started to racially profile people and violate their rights, and they would do things like listening in on phone calls, arresting people without permission, and also raiding their homes. Well, the Department of Justice kind of turns a blind eye to this and basically are like, well, yeah, they're arresting a lot of people that didn't do anything, but like 2% of the people that they're arresting did do something. So the Bureau of Investigation actually ends up recruiting a lot of these people to go into larger cities and do draft checks. But one time when they go to New York City in September of 1918, they end up arresting 75,000 people over the course of 3 days. It turns out that only 400 of those people were guilty of any crime more than just not having their papers on them that day. Fast forward to November of 1918, World War I ends, and it takes another 3 months for the United States to come out and say, hey, we are no longer working with the APL volunteers. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. Have a good day. On March 5th of 1919, another attorney general takes over, and he takes a much stronger stance on the APL and says, you guys are basically just a glorified gossip group that's running around and taking this to way too big of extremes. Now, I know what you're thinking. What happened to all those APL volunteers? Did they just go back to their everyday lives after pretending to be cops for 2 years? Yeah, some of them did, but some of them also realized that they really enjoyed groups with 3 letters in them, and since they were racist anyways, the next step was obvious.